Dear finance professionals and students, welcome to podcast of FCA Deepak Rao, a practicing chartered accountant. Weekly digest for week 1 of December 2025. Mumbai's property market reached an all-time high in November with 12,219 registrations, a 20% year-on-year increase. This surge, driven by end-user demand and infrastructure upgrades, boosted state revenue by 12% to Rs 1,038 crore. The market shows sustained momentum with a preference for larger, premium homes despite rising prices. CRISIL has lifted its full-year GDP growth forecast to 7% from 6.5% after the economy expanded 8% in the first half, beating expectations. Chief economist Dharmakriti Joshi said real GDP grew 8.2% in the September quarter, though nominal growth was softer at 8.7% due to easing inflation. Oyo's parent firm Prism will hold an extraordinary general meeting on December 20th to seek shareholders' approval to raise up to Rs 6,650 crore through an initial public offering. The global travel tech platform has issued a notice to its shareholders informing them about the EGM and its agenda. According to the communication, shareholders will also vote on a bonus issue proposal to issue one fully paid equity share for every 19 existing equity shares, with December 5th, 2025 set as the record date for determining eligible shareholders. This follows Prism's decision to revisit and unify its earlier bonus structure based on shareholder and investor feedback, with the revised framework entailing equitable participation for all equity shareholders. The Reserve Bank of India on Friday issued 7 new master directions on digital banking channels authorization for regulated entities, including commercial banks and small finance banks. This is part of a massive exercise taken by the Reserve Bank of India to enhance clarity, ease of access, and reduce compliance burden for regulated entities, thereby supporting the broader objective of improving ease of doing business. The new directions on digital banking channels will be applicable from January 1st, 2026. India is eating out more. Spending at restaurants and eateries shows a 34% rise in unified payments interface transactions to 14 billion in the first half of financial year 26, up from 10.4 billion a year ago. The value of these payments rose to Rs 1.9 lakh crore from Rs 1.5 lakh crore in the same period, and small towns are equally caught up in this phenomenon. Restaurants are responding by moving the expansion beyond saturated metros in the heart of Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities. Bandhan Bank's nearly Rs 7,000 crore microfinance bad loan portfolio sale, one of the largest such sales by a private sector bank, has attracted significant interest from asset reconstruction companies. Industry insiders say that given the large number of accounts in the microfinance portfolio and the current stress in the sector, it could be a good buy for asset reconstruction companies at the right price. Typically, large microfinance portfolios are sold for less than 10 cents on the dollar, industry insiders said. The government has decided to divest up to 6% stake in state-owned Bank of Maharashtra through an offer for sale commencing on Tuesday. At the current market price, the government would be able to garner about Rs 2,600 crore by offloading up to 6% stake in the bank. The government currently holds a 79.60% stake in the Pune-based bank. The government has stated that no proposals for merging or consolidating state-owned banks are currently being considered. Foreign direct investment limits for public and private sector banks remain at 20% and 74% respectively. Disinvestment of IDBI Bank will proceed as approved by the CCEA. Regional rural banks have shown improved financial health, posting significant profits. Indian non-bank lender Piramal Finance aims to raise around rupees 15,000 crore or $1.67 billion in the December to March period, focusing mostly on local borrowing. The company aims to raise rupees 30,000 crore in the current financial year, about half of which has been borrowed already. 40% of the borrowing will be via bank loans, with the rest a combination of local bonds, external borrowings, securitization, and loans from multilateral agencies. Top Chinese electronics firms in India like Oppo and Vivo are now borrowing from their group companies. This shift comes as they face challenges in getting equity funding approval. Regulatory actions and the Press Note 3 rules are making it difficult to access local bank loans. December promises a surge in India's IPO market, with around 25 public issues worth nearly rupees 30,000 crore planned. This follows a record-breaking year. Major companies like ICICI Prudential Asset Management, Meesho, and CleanMax Enviro Energy Solutions are leading the pack. This strong pipeline validates a structural bull market driven by entrepreneurial energy and investor appetite. Tata Communications has acquired a 51% stake in AI-native enterprise SaaS company Commotion Inc. This strategic move aims to bolster AI adoption within Tata Communications' digital fabric portfolio, particularly enhancing its customer interaction suite. The integration will automate end-to-end customer journeys, shifting interactions towards predictive and generative engagement. Indian food delivery giant Swiggy Limited is reportedly preparing to raise up to 100 billion rupees or $1.1 billion from institutional investors as early as next week. The company has shortlisted Citigroup, JP Morgan Chase, and Kotak Mahindra to manage the potential share sale, which was approved by its board on November 7th. Wipro Consumer Care and Lighting is pursuing acquisitions with a rupees 6,000 crore to rupees 7,000 crore reserve, targeting regional brands in higher margin categories. The company sees opportunities in fast-growing personal care segments and prefers buying established local brands to accelerate expansion efficiently. Early-stage consumer VC Fireside Ventures on Tuesday announced the close of its fourth fund today with a corpus of rupees 2,265 crore or about $253 million as it bets big on the opportunity in India. The fund, which is already in the process of being deployed with early-stage deal-making, will close about 10 to 12 deals a year. Fireside, which largely participates in seed and pre-Series A rounds, is also expanding its follow-on checks to Series A rounds as part of its larger thesis to be founder-first and build from scratch. Real estate tech startup Modulus Housing has raised a Series A round of $7.83 million to drive its next phase of growth. The funding round was led by Kalari Capital, Hero, and Samaratya, with participation from SVAS, Sigma, Zetwork founder Srinath Ramkrishnan, Zetwork director Sanjeev Rangras, and others. Apart from the stake deal, MD of Balaji Wafers, Virani, shared the firm's expansion plans, beginning with the establishment of 2 new factories in Karnataka and Gujarat with an estimated investment of rupees 1,000 crore, in addition to expanding the capacity of an existing plant in Uttar Pradesh. According to a report, India's appetite for packaged snacks is projected to grow to rupees 1.01 lakh crore by 2033. With a CAGR of 8.63% between 2025 and 2033. The Prada Group on Tuesday announced that it has officially acquired luxury fashion label Versace in a deal worth $1.37 billion. With this move, Versace will now operate under the same umbrella as Prada and Miu Miu, bringing together some of Italy's most influential fashion brands. The deal marks the end of Versace's ownership under Capri Holdings, the US-based luxury group that had controlled the brand through the post-pandemic years. Adani Group plans a significant $15 billion investment over 5 years to expand its airport passenger capacity to 200 million annually. This expansion, including new terminals and runways, aims to support India's booming aviation sector and bolster its airport unit's upcoming initial share sale. Manipal Health Enterprises is preparing to file for a $1 billion IPO in January, aiming for a valuation of up to $13 billion, which could make it India's most valuable hospital chain. Backed by Temasek, the company has grown rapidly through acquisitions and is working with major banks to launch the country's biggest hospital sector listing. The Bengaluru-based hospital chain is working with advisors including Kotak Mahindra Capital Company, Axis Bank Limited, and the local units of Goldman Sachs Group Inc., JP Morgan Chase & Co., and Jefferies Group LLC on the potential sale. Daiwa Securities Group has agreed to acquire a minority 15% stake in Ambit's wealth management arm, Ambit Global Private Client or Ambit GPC, for Rs 285 crore to tap into the country's growing appetite for investing and spending, joining an increasingly competitive field. Infusion of primary capital will help to launch new products, tap global footprint of each other and attract talent. Wealth management contributes 40% of Daiwa's global revenues. Indian banks are boosting lending to higher yield loans. This strategy aims to safeguard profit margins in a favorable credit market. Recent data shows an increase in the average lending rate on new loans. This trend helps banks maintain their net interest margins. Banks are also lending more to individuals and smaller businesses. JSW Steel has formed a joint venture with Japanese steel major JFE Steel Corporation for the steel business of the recently acquired Bhushan Power and Steel Limited. In an exchange filing, JSW Steel stated that the joint venture carries an equity value of Rs 31,500 crore, with JFE Steel investing Rs 15,750 crore for a 50% stake. JSW Steel added that the transaction will be by way of a slump sale for a cash consideration of Rs 24,483 crore. The company stated that the cash proceeds it receives from the transaction will strengthen its balance sheet even further and provide a clear runway for growth. Mahindra Lifespace Developers, the real estate and infrastructure arm of the Mahindra Group, won a project worth Rs 1,010 crore gross development value for a major residential redevelopment project in Matunga, Mumbai. The company said in its regulatory filing that the project spans around 1.53 acres and the upcoming development will transform the existing housing cluster into a modern community with improved infrastructure, contemporary design, and enhanced lifestyle amenities. Sun Pharmaceutical Industries subsidiary Sun Pharma Laboratories Limited has approved a Rs 3,000 crore investment for a new greenfield formulations manufacturing facility in Madhya Pradesh. This significant expansion by the Mumbai-based drug major aims to bolster its production capabilities. The announcement comes as Sun Pharma shares saw a slight increase on Wednesday. India and Russia are set to collaborate on innovation and co-creation. Prime Minister Modi stated India is ready to partner with Russia to develop sustainable solutions for global challenges. The two nations aim to boost mutual trade and ensure humanity's well-being. They will focus on EV manufacturing, automotive components, and wireless mobility tech. The Reserve Bank of India cut its key repo rate by 25 basis points on Friday, in line with a consensus view as record low retail inflation and benign outlook for prices provided ample room to further support economic growth. The Monetary Policy Committee has now cut the repo rate by a total of 125 basis points since February to 5.25%. It held rates in August and October. The policy stance was retained at neutral. Netflix has agreed to buy Warner Bros. Discovery's TV and film studios and streaming division for $72 billion, a deal that would hand control of one of Hollywood's most prized and oldest assets to the streaming pioneer that has upended the media industry. The agreement, announced on Friday, follows a weeks-long bidding war where Netflix seized the lead with a nearly $28 a share offer that eclipsed Paramount Skydance's nearly $24 bid for the whole of Warner Bros. Discovery, including the cable TV assets slated for a spin-off. India is preparing to invite bids for its 60.72% stake in IDBI Bank Limited, valued at approximately $7.1 billion. This move is a significant step in the government's privatization efforts for the lender. Talks with potential suitors are advanced, with a formal bidding process expected soon. Early-stage VC firm Nexus Venture Partners on Thursday said it has raised $700 million as part of its eighth fund, which aims to invest in startups across India and the United States. Nexus noted that a majority of its limited partners or LPs from earlier funds returned to invest in its new fund, which will especially focus on artificial intelligence, enterprise software, consumer, and fintech startups at inception, seed, and Series A stages. These investments are expected to add to the VC's growing portfolio of companies, which include new age AI startups like TensorWave and Avoca, as well as established category giants like Zepto, Delivery, and Rapido. Wipro Consumer Care and Lighting is charting an aggressive acquisition strategy, backed by a rupees 6,000 to 7,000 crore war chest and the capacity to raise more debt. The maker of Santoor and Yardley soaps is in talks with regional brands, especially in spices and personal care, that can push expansion into higher margin segments as the company looks to widen its product portfolio. Because the family doesn't take out dividends, our war chest is very good and our treasury is big. So, if we want to acquire, we have enough money even without debt, Chief Executive Agarwal said. The quick commerce platform Zepto has converted itself into a public company as it prepares for an initial public offering, changing its registered name from Zepto Private Limited to Zepto Limited through a special resolution passed by its shareholders. These developments come just months after Zepto raised $450 million in a mix of primary and secondary rounds led by US-based pension fund California Public Employees Retirement System. The latest round values the company at $7 billion, along with giving it a war chest to defend and expand its quick commerce market share. India's mobile phone imports have dramatically fallen to mere 0.02% of domestic demand. This shift highlights a massive surge in domestic production and exports. Mobile phone production has seen a 28-fold increase, reaching rupees 5.5 lakh crore. Exports have also soared by 127 times. Z47, formerly known as Matrix Partners India, has fully exited its investment in electric vehicle manufacturer Ola Electric, according to regulatory documents filed with stock exchanges. The venture capital firm was one of the early backers of the company, having co-led a funding round into Ola back in 2019 along with Tiger Global. The investment exit comes at a time when the Bhavish Agarwal-led company is struggling to maintain its market share amidst rising competition from peers like TVS Motor, Bajaj Auto, and Ather Energy. The Roadster maker's market share in November slipped to 4th position below Hero MotoCorp. British American Tobacco or BAT on Friday sold a 9% stake in ITC Hotels for Rs 3,820 crore, cutting its holding in the company to 6.3% from 15.3% earlier. BAT's move to monetize its holding in ITC Hotels is part of an effort to bring down its debt. This is the third time in 2 years that BAT has pared its stake in ITC group companies. Suzlon Energy plans to build 3 AI-enabled smart factories as it looks to speed execution of its 6.2 gigawatt order book and streamline logistics. 2 of the plants are planned in Karnataka and Gujarat, with a third site to be finalized soon. Suzlon will also upgrade all of 15 of its existing factories with similar digital systems. The company typically invests Rs 500 crore to Rs 550 crore in capex across its plants annually. Miamin Systems, globally known as Miamin Corp, announced a transformative initiative in partnership with the Telangana government to build 10 large-scale global capability centers in Hyderabad by 2026. The announcement marks one of the largest GCC expansion plans in the region and is expected to create over 2,000 engineering jobs, boosting the city's stature as a world-class innovation and technology hub. This podcast is sponsored by Sound of CA. We share because we care. Vande Mataram, Jai Hind.